Be reading from the book of Leviticus, chapter 15 to 18. Bear with me as I try to get through this, y'all willing. The book of Leviticus, chapter 15, verse 1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, verse 2, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any man has a discharge from his flesh, his discharge is unclean. His discharge is unclean. When any man has a discharge from his flesh, his discharge is unclean. Verse 3, and this is his uncleanliness in regards to his discharge, whether his flesh runs with his discharge or his flesh is stopped up by his discharge, it is his uncleanliness. Verse 4, any bed becomes unclean on which he who has the discharge lies, and any object on which he sits becomes unclean. Verse 5, and anyone who touches his bed has to wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 6, and he who sits on any object on which he who has the discharge sat has to wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 8, and when he who has the discharge spits on him who is clean, then he shall wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 9, any sandal on which he who has the discharge rides becomes unclean. Verse 10, and any saddle on which he who has the discharge rides becomes unclean. Verse 10, and whoever touches any of that which was under him is unclean until evening. And he who is carrying them up has to wash his garments and wash and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 11, and anyone whom he who has the discharge touches without rinsing his hands in water shall wash his garments and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 12, and the earthen vessel which he who has the discharge touches has to be broken, and every wooden vessel has to be rinsed in water. Verse 13, and when he who has a discharge is cleansed of his discharge, then he shall count for himself 7 days for his cleansing, and shall wash his garments, and shall bathe his flesh in running water, and be clean. Verse 14, and on the 8th day he takes for himself 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and shall come before Yahuwah to the door of the tent of appointment, and shall give them the priest. Verse 15, and the priest shall prepare them, the one as a sin offering, and the other as an ascending offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him before Yahuwah because of his discharge. Verse 16, and when a man has when a man has an emission of semen, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until evening. Verse 17, and any garment in any lever on which there is semen shall also be washed with water, and be unclean until evening. Verse 18, and when a woman lies with a man, and there is an emission of semen, they both shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 19, and when a woman has a discharge, the discharge from her flesh is blood. She has to be in her separation for 7 days, and whoever touches her is unclean until evening. Verse 20, and whatever she lies on during her separation is unclean, and whatever she sits on is unclean. Verse 21, and anyone who touches her bed has to wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 22, and whoever touches any object that she sat on has to wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 23, and if it's on the bed or on any object on which she sits, when he touches it, he is unclean until evening. Verse 24, and if a man lies with her at all, and her monthly flow is on him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and any bed he lies on is unclean. Verse 25, and when a woman has a discharge of blood for many days, other than at the time of her monthly separation, or when she discharged beyond her usual time of monthly separation, all the days of her unclean discharge shall be as the days of her monthly separation. She is unclean. Verse 26, any bed on which she lies all the days of her discharge is to her as the bed of her monthly separation, and whatever she sits on is unclean, as the uncleanliness of her monthly separation. Verse 27, and anyone who touches them is unclean and shall wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 28, but if she is cleansed of her discharge, then she shall count for herself 7 days, and after that she is clean. Verse 29, and on the eighth day she takes for herself two turtle doves or two young pigeons, and shall bring them to the priest to the door of the tent of appointment. Verse 30, and the priest shall prepare the one as a sin offering and the other as an ascending offering, and the priest shall make atonement for her before Yahuwah for the discharge of her uncleanliness. Verse 31, thus you shall separate the children of Israel from their uncleanliness, lest they die in their uncleanliness when they defile my dwelling place, which is in their midst. Verse 32, this is the Torah for one who has a discharge, and for him who emits semen and is unclean thereby. Verse 33, and for her who is sick in her monthly separation, and for one who has a discharge, either man or woman, and for him who lies with an unclean woman. Chapter 16, verse 1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe after the death of the two sons of Aaron as they drew near before Yahuwah and was unalive and died. Verse 2. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, speak to Aaron your brother not to come in at all times to the set apart place inside the veil before the lid of atonement which is on the ark, lest he die, because I appear in the cloud above the lid of atonement. Verse 3, with this Aaron shall come into the set apart place with the blood of a young bull, a sin offering, and of a ram as an ascending offering. Verse 4, he shall put on the set apart linen long shirt with linen trousers on his flesh, and gird himself with a linen girdle, and be dressed with the linen turban. They are set apart garments. And he shall bathe his body in water and shall put them on. Verse 5, and from congregation of children of Israel he takes two male goats as a sin offering, and one ram as an ascending offering. Verse 6. And Aaron shall bring the bull as a sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house. Verse 7. And he shall take the two goats and let them stand before Yahuwah at the door of the tent of appointment. Verse 8. And Aaron shall cast lots for the two goats, one lot for Yahuwah and the other lot for Azazel. That's interesting. One lot for Yahuwah and the other lot for Azazel. I'm surprised I missed that part. Verse 9. And Aaron shall bring the goat on which the lot for Yahuwah fell, and shall prepare it as a sin offering. Verse 10. But the goat on which the lot for Azazel fell is caused to stand alive before Yahuwah to make atonement upon it, to send it into the wilderness to Azazel. Hmm. Verse 11. And Aaron shall bring the bull of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house, and shall slay the bull as the sin offering, which is for himself. Verse 12. And shall take a fire holder filled with burning coals of fire from the slaughter place before Yahuwah with his hands filled with sweet incense beaten fine, and shall bring it inside the veil. Verse 13. And he shall put the incense on the fire before Yahuwah, and the cloud of incense shall cover the lid of atonement, which is on the witness, lest he die. Verse 14. And he shall take some of the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his finger on the lid of atonement on the east side. Also, in front of the lid of atonement, he sprinkles some of the blood with his finger 7 times. Verse 15. And he shall slay the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people, and shall bring its blood inside the veil, and shall do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it on the lid of atonement and in front of the lid of atonement. Verse 16. And he shall make atonement for the set apart place, causing because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, and because of the transgression of all their sins. And so he does for the tent of appointment, which is dwelling with them in the midst of their uncleanliness. Verse 17. And no man shall be in the tent of appointment when he goes in to make atonement in the set apart place until he comes out, and he shall make atonement for himself and for his household and for all the assembly of Israel. Verse 18. And he shall go out to the slaughter place that is before Yahuwah and make atonement for it. And he shall take some of its blood of the bull and some of the blood of the goat and put it on the horns of the set apart place all around. Verse 19. And he shall sprinkle some of the blood on it with his finger 7 times and cleanse it and set it apart from the uncleanliness of children of Israel. Verse 20. And when he has finished atoning for the set apart place and the tent of appointment in the slaughter place, he shall bring the live goat. Verse 21. Then Aaron shall lay both his hands on the head of the live goat, and shall confess over it all the crookedness of the children of Israel and all their transgressions in their sins, and shall put them on the head of the goat, and shall send it away into the wilderness by the hand of a fit man. Verse 22. And the goat shall bear on itself all their crookedness to the land cut off. Thus he shall send the goat away into the wilderness. Verse 23. Aaron shall then come into the tent of appointment, and shall take off the linen garments which he put on when he went into the set apart place, and shall leave them there. Verse 24, and he shall bathe his body in water in the set apart place, and shall put on his garments, and shall come out and prepare his ascending offering and descending offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people. Verse 25, and burn the fat of the sin offering on the slaughter place. Verse 26, and he who sent away the goat to Hazazel washes his garments and shall bathe his body in water, and afterwards he comes into the camp. Verse 27, and the bull for the sin offering and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the set apart place, is brought outside to the camp, and they shall burn their skins and their flesh and their dung with fire. Verse 28, and he who burns them washes his garments and shall bathe his body in water, and afterwards he comes into the camp. Verse 29, and this shall be for you a law forever. In the seventh new moon, on the 10th day of the new moon, you afflict your being, do no work, the native or the stranger who sojourns with you. Verse 30, for on that day he makes atonement for you to cleanse you, to be clean from all your sins before Yahuwah. Verse 31, it is a Sabbath of rest for you, and you shall afflict your beings, a law forever. Verse 32, and the priest who is anointed and ordained to serve as priest in his father's place shall make atonement and shall put on his linen garments, the set apart garments. Verse 33, and he shall make atonement for the most set apart place, and make atonement for the tent of appointment, and for the slaughter place, and make atonement for the priest and for all the people of the assembly. Verse 34, and this shall be for you a law forever, to make atonement for the children of Israel for all their sins once a year. And he did as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. Chapter 17, verse 1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, verse 2, speak to Aaron, to his sons, and to all the children of Israel, and say to them, this is the word which Yahuwah has commanded, saying, verse 3, any man from the house of Israel who slays a bull or a lamb or a goat in the camp, or who slays it outside the camp. Verse 4, and does not bring it to the door of the tent of appointment to bring an offering to Yahuwah before the dwelling place of Yahuwah, blood guilt is reckoned to that man. He has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 5, in order that the children of Israel bring the slaughtering which they slaughter in the open field, and they shall bring them to Yahuwah at the door of the tent of appointment to the priest, and to slaughter them as the slaughterings of peace offerings to Yahuwah. Verse 6, and the priest shall sprinkle the blood of the slaughter place of Yahuwah at the door of the tent of appointment, and shall burn the fat for a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. Verse 7, and let them no longer slaughter their slaughterings to demons after whom they hoard. This is a law forever for them throughout their generations. Verse 8, and say to them, any man of the house of Israel or of the stranger who sojourn among you, who offers an ascending offering or slaughtering, verse 9, does not bring it to the door of the tent of appointment to do it to Yahuwah, that man shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 11, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon slaughter place. to make atonement for your lives, for it is the blood that makes atonement for the life. Verse 12, therefore I said to the children of Israel, no being among you eats blood, nor does any stranger who sojourns among you eat blood. Verse 13, and any man from the children of Israel or from the strangers who sojourn among you, who hunts and catches any beast or bird which is eaten, shall pour out its blood and cover it with dust. Verse 14, for it is the life of all flesh, its blood is for its life. And I said to the children of Israel, do not eat the blood of any flesh, do not eat the blood of any flesh, for the life of all flesh is in its blood. Anyone eating it is cut off. So again, it says, and any man from the children of Israel, from the stranger to sojourn among you, who hunts and catches a beast or a bird which is eaten, shall pour out its blood and cover it with dust, and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the life of all flesh. Its blood is for its life. And I said to the children of Israel, do not eat the blood of any flesh, for the life of all flesh is its blood. For the life of all flesh is its blood. So that's where the life lies. This is an indication. The life of all flesh is its blood. That's your life. Clear indication of it. Anyone eating it is cut off. Verse 15. And any being who eats a carcass or what was torn by a beast, be he a native or a stranger, he shall wash his garments and bathe in water, and shall be unclean until evening. Then he shall be clean. And if he does not wash or bathe his body, then he shall bear his crookedness. Verse 18, and Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, verse 2, speak to the children of Yisrael, and say to them, I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Verse 3, do not do as they do in the land of Misraim, where you dwelt, and do not do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you, and do not walk in their laws. Verse 4, do my right rulings and guard my laws to walk in them. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Verse 5, and you shall guard my laws and my right rulings, which a man does and lives by them. Which a man does and lives by them. I am Yahuwah. Verse 6, no one is to approach anyone of his own flesh to uncover his nakedness. I am Yahuwah. Verse 7, the nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother you do not uncover. She is your mother, you do not uncover her nakedness. So we have to take this in all areas. Like I look at this like not to even see your parents naked or your child to see you naked. I think that leaves scars, whether you think of it or not. I think that leaves scars for the future. I think that takes a toll, on their, sexuality in the future. Just a thought. And I think is a reason why the Most High is telling us not to uncover each other's nakedness unless, there's, we're spouse of each other. You know, not even if they're your parents or they're your child. They're not to see it. Just a thought. Verse 8, the nakedness of your father's wife you do not uncover. It is your father's nakedness. Verse 9, the nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father or the daughter of your mother, whether born at home or elsewhere, their nakedness you do not uncover. Verse 10, the nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, their nakedness you do not uncover, for theirs is your own nakedness. Verse 11, the nakedness, see, and that's where I'm saying the nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, like this is your grandkids. So, like, yeah, so verse 11, the nakedness of your father's wife, daughter, brought forth by your father, she is your sister. You do not uncover her nakedness. Verse 12, the nakedness of your father's sister you do not uncover. She is your father's flesh. Verse 13, the nakedness of your mother's sister you do not uncover, for she is your mother's flesh. Verse 14, the nakedness of your father's brother you do not uncover. You do not approach his wife. She is your aunt. She is your aunt. Verse 15, the nakedness of your daughter in law you do not uncover. She is your son's wife. You do not uncover her nakedness. Verse 16, the nakedness of your brother's wife you do not uncover. It is your brother's nakedness. It's his nakedness to uncover, not yours. It's his nakedness to uncover, not yours. Verse 17, the nakedness of a woman and her daughter you do not uncover, nor do you take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness. They are her relatives. It is wickedness. So you're not to take a woman and her mother, or a daughter, a woman and her daughter. You're not to have a daughter and a mother, at once. Verse 18, and do not take a woman as a rival to her sister. So you're not to take sisters. You're not to take sisters to, and do not take a woman as a rival to her sister to uncover her nakedness while the other is alive. While the other is alive, at least. At least while the other is alive, you're not to have sisters. You're not to have the sisters at the same time. And yeah, I get that, you know, I get that I believe Abraham or Jacob had sisters, but yeah, that was he was tricked into that. He was tricked into that. That wasn't his intentions. Verse 19, and do not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness in her monthly separation. So you're not to approach a woman to uncover her nakedness while she's going through, her cycle. Verse 20, and do not have intercourse. And do not have intercourse with the wife of your neighbor to defile yourself with her. Verse 21, and do not give any of your offspring to pass through to Molech, and do not profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahuwah. Verse 22, and do not lie with a male as with a woman. Do not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination. It is an abomination to lie with a male as with a woman. Verse 23, and do not have intercourse with any beast to defile yourself with it. And a woman does not stand before a beast to mate with it. It is perversion. Verse 24, do not defile yourselves with all these, for by all these the nations are defiled, which I am driving out before you. Verse 25, thus the land become defiled, therefore I punish it for its crookedness, and the land vomit out its inhabitants. The land vomits out its inhabitants. So he causes the land to spit you out wherever you are doing this. Wherever you're doing this, he causes the land to. Verse 26, but you shall guard my laws and my right ruling and not do any of these abominations. The native nor stranger who sojourns among you. Verse 27, because the men of the land who were before you have done all these abominations. And thus the land become defiled. Verse 28, so let not the land vomit you out for defiling it, as it vomited out the nations that were before you. So this is how the nations that were before us were vomited out for doing these abominations. The land will literally vomit you out, get rid of you. And wondering why things happen, earthquakes and natural disasters. It's the land vomiting you out, getting rid of you. It's the land getting rid of you. The Most High causing the land to get rid of you for carrying out abominations. Verse 29, for whoever does any of these abominations, those beings who do them shall be cut off from among their people. Verse 30, and you should guard my charge so as not to do any of these abominable laws which were done before you, so as not to defile yourselves by them. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. So anyone who is getting into any of this, they're to be cut off from the community, cut off from their people, because as obvious, it comes with you getting, sick. It comes, these abominations come with illnesses. These abominations comes with, disaster, natural disaster and earthquake, the land spitting you out. This is what comes with, you know, all of these abominations uncovering, the nakedness of anyone other than your spouse, and, lying with a beast as you lie with, your spouse, or lying with a male as you would lie with a woman. These are all abominations that will cause the land to spit you out, and cause the land to have earthquakes, and cause the land to have natural disasters and stuff, things of that nature. That was the book of Leviticus, and very important chapter. Is chapter 18. You know, making it clear who we're not to sleep with, who we're not to uncover, and why we're not to uncover their nakedness. Making it clear we're not to uncover each other's nakedness, even our children seeing us naked, or we see, we is yes, it's fine seeing our children because we have to bathe our children, but our children seeing us naked, that's not what it is. We're not to do that. It's fine for us to, and I don't see anywhere it says, you know, us not to see our children naked, because we obviously see them naked when they're giving birth. They're birthed. and we bathe them and take care of them. So it didn't say anything about that. The nakedness of your sister, the nakedness of your wife. What it did say is the nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother, you do not uncover. That's the first thing it said. The nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother, you do not uncover. She is your mother. You do not uncover her nakedness. So this goes back to when Lot, no, not Lot, when Noah nakedness was uncovered by Canaan, I believe, and they were cursed by that. They was cursed due to that for uncovering the nakedness of Noah, and I believe the people of Canaan, which is I believe the people of complexion, is cursed to this day for that. Cursed to this day for that. Just a thought. You know what I mean? It's because they uncovered the nakedness of Noah. So we're not to see our parents, our children, not to see us naked. Stop walking around your children naked. Don't walk around your children naked. Don't let them see you naked. Don't let them see you wash, bathe, get dressed. Try not to do that. Don't, because it's a reason. It's a reason why the Most High say these things. He's not saying them just to be saying it. It's a reason why he says these things. Not to do it. It's obviously causes hypersexuality in the future or some form of sexuality in the future. Seeing your sisters, like, yeah, seeing your mother, seeing your sisters, that causes hypersexuality. Believe it or not, it does. Trust me. I'm you know, I'm living proof of it. I can understand what happened to me. I can understand. It wasn't intentional. It's just out of, not knowing any better. But when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. And this is where it comes down to us doing better, showing better, teaching better, you know, now that we know better. That was the book of Leviticus chapter 17, wait, chapter 15 to 18. I'm gonna bless us out according to the blessing that was given to Moses to bless the people in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 23 to 26. Receive your blessing. May Yahuwah bless you and guard you. May Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. May Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Peace, love, Shabbat Shalom. Till next time, Shabbat Shalom, peace, and love.